It's time to plug in, be the outlet for change, and let your passion drive the change that you want to see in the world. AY is one of the United Nations 17 leaders for the Sustainable Development Goals. I know, big words, right? And they're to be achieved by 2030. Whew, that's a lot. And what I love about AY is he's really about breaking down the barriers between hearts and between actions and between sustainability and between us, where we are today and meeting those goals, where we are today and how we can make a difference today, where we're at with who we are. It's a great conversation. We go in a lot of places and we cover a lot of different subjects. I'm Natalie Forstbauer, founder and editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it far and wide so we can really amplify the conversation of regeneration and of planetary health and of global health. And if you haven't subscribed to the magazine yet, head on over to heartandsoulmagazine.com and grab your subscription where you can get access to all the back issues as well. It's a really great deal.
It's craziness, right? I think this music is going to be crazy revolutionary because there is nobody who is singing about, but the way I'm talking about the goals and like, so like no one's doing it like this. Like,
I love it. So tell me more about that. Tell me more about when you say no. Well, before we jump into what you're doing, tell me more about the goals that you're talking about and what they mean to you.
Oh yeah, the 17 SDGs or whatever. I didn't even know what it was either, bro. I mean, I was like, when the Secretary General, because he picked me to be, one of the 17 United Nations young leaders, and like, you're achieving goal 7. That's what they told me. I was like, what? Oh, cool. And I looked, and goal 7 is like clean energy. It means like everyone needs to have access to energy. Like these are the 17 like things that the United Nations, all the countries are like, hey, we have to do this by 2030. That's why I was like, tick tock, 2030, and it's like 70, like everyone needs food, everyone needs water, like everyone needs energy. There's people, over 1 billion people lack access to energy. So what I've been doing with the battery tour was, using my passion, music. I was being what I call an outlet, and I kind of, I started doing this, obviously this concept powered by renewable energy, but I started using these concerts to raise money to fund, build, and send one person, one village access energy, right? So I was getting the world plugged in. I was using the concerts and music to get someone access energy, right? And so that's why I was achieving goal 7. And so when the Secretary General was like, you're achieving goal 7, I was like, oh, that's cool. And he was like, oh, also goal 13, because you're doing a concert, but it's, carbon neutral, which is climate action. So when I looked at the goals, I was like, dude, nobody knows this, but they know like, Justin Bieber's girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? Or like, or Kanye West or Will Smith, like we know all this, what I'm saying? We know all this stuff. But if we're like, hey, do you know what the gender equality goal is? Most average person's gonna be like, female empowerment? Like they have no idea. They don't know what goal 14 is, which is like we should protect our life like underwater, like we should make sure like, we protect our water, like our life on land is like goal 15. Like let's protect our trees and our wildlife. People don't know that.
No, they don't. No, I don't. I love how you're giving a voice to it. And I love, thanks for sharing those songs with me just before we opened up. And one of them, the last one you played actually really moved me deeply because it connected me with how you are giving a voice to people without voices. And you are giving not just people a voice without voices, you're giving our planet and almost these goals a voice without which don't have voices. Because like you said, even though they're the UN World Sustainability Goals, they're not talked about. People know more about pop culture than they know about what I would say really matters.
Yeah, like I legitimately know more about like what some celebrity did yesterday for coffee, than like the fact that like we all need, like there's millions of people that don't have access to education. Like we all need that. You know, like everyone should have access to education so they can, you know, educate themselves. Right. I mean, very basic things like what, like everyone needs to have water. Like clean water is a huge one. Goal 6 is like, dude, there are people that have to walk 5 miles for water, you know? And so, yeah, like when I saw the goals for me, I say it took me 30 seconds to launch this thing called Project 17 that everybody now kind of is learning about. But really it was 10 years of this music for impact model that I've been doing since 2012 when I started music, which is what, you know, led me to launch the battery tour, right? Like, which has been this music for impact, or taking your passion and taking an action, right? Being this outlet for change.
Yeah. So why bring me back to 10 years ago, when before any of this started? Like, where were you at, and what was that moment where you noticed you wanted to do something differently?
Yeah, I mean, I know, I wonder, I see something like, was there a moment that I wanted to do things differently? Or was it more just like I wanted to do what I love to do? You know, I think it was more like that. It was more like, you know, I got out to this TV show called X Factor, and I was trying to open up for major acts. I'm an artist. Any artist listening, anybody who does performance or rap or whatever,
Yeah.
you want people to hear your music or to do your poetry in front of someone. You know,
Yeah.
so like, you know, in my business, like, you know, you hit up the agent or whatever, Justin Bieber's come into town, Bruno Mars, whatever, you try to answer, you know, hey, can I open up for Bruno Mars? You know,
Yeah.
and I would get hit with like, well, how many followers do you have? Like not a million followers, but and that's one lesson I learned right there that I tell people all the time. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, bro. Like you do not need to have 1 million followers or 100,000 followers or 70,000 or 5,000 to make an impact.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. I mean, it's funny right now. I think if you were to look at how many followers I have 25,000. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. But I've opened up for Wiz Khalifa, Shaggy, T-Pain, Aaron Carter. I'm the young leader of the world representing the youth of America. And I'm literally working with the biggest artists in the world and the biggest companies. And I don't have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
I also, without having even 25,000, brought energy access to over 17 countries and powered over 800 concerts. So it looks like you can do stuff without a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of followers. Yeah, but but to go back, it was oh, you know, how many tickets has your last tour sold out? And it was like none. I haven't been on tour. So at that point, I was faced with this decision that we all are faced with, right? Is you know, but I feel like in life we should be doing what we love to do every day. And when I looked at other artists, I was like, okay, Bruno Mars, this guy Ed Sheeran, they look like they're doing what they love to do every day, right? Why can't I? Why can't you? We're all humans. We're all outliers, right? So I obsessed over energy because I was like, well, how do I do a freaking concert anywhere? So it wasn't more like, how can I do things differently? It was like, man, how can I do what I freaking like to do every day? And then I found out, oh my God, energy is the base resource. It's in your water, it's in your food. And if you store enough energy, right, you can power anything. And so that's what I started doing. Start storing batteries, start concept. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. And how did you even begin to, because you started by asking the questions and noticing what you wanted to do. And how did you know what the first steps were to take AY?
Yeah. This is the part that really is hard for people. But it's a lot easier than it seems. Like you have to know your why. It's that simple. Like, I was just at a school and I was asking, it was at college and I was asking people, do you know what your why is? And they didn't know what why was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be tough because I gotta explain the why and then 10,000 hours. That's another thing. But you need to know your why, what drives you, right? So I use an example all the time. I say, people come to me all the time and they're like, oh, I want to be a rapper. Or like, people be like, I want to be a social media influencer. I want to be an influencer on social media. And then I start asking, well, why? You know, like, why do you want to be a rapper? And when you start diving into it, and if you're truthful, you might figure out that, oh, wait a second, I like attention, right? Because when people clap or when I see, I'm seen or heard, I feel good. Well, and then you can dive in deeper in that. Well, why is that? Because when I was young, my mom and dad didn't give me much attention. right? So if you need attention, maybe you don't have to be a rapper to do it though, right? You could be an actor. You could have I use a funny joke. I say, well, there's all people that be having these OnlyFans accounts getting attention, doing all kinds of stuff, right? There's a lot of ways to get attention if that's what your why is, right? And so I think the first step is like, what is my why? What drives me? Then you say, okay, well, this is my passion. And then you take a step every day toward the passion. That's where 10,000 hours comes in. That's where, you have to be great. You can't substitute being in the gym shooting 1,000 shots a day. You can't substitute it, period. Whether you're a startup, a ballerina, you want to do this or why, you got to put that 10,000 hours in. And so that's how I got here. People are like, oh yeah, how did you get here, AY? I mean, 800 plus, like really over close to 900 concerts, in the last like 5, 6, 7 years, I mean, 8 to 10 hour shows. And see, when I started doing Battery Tour, I started doing 8 to 10 hour concerts. And that doesn't make sense to most musicians because they're used to doing, they show up and do 30 minutes, 45 minutes and roll out. But see, I look at it differently. It was like when I look at McDonald's or Wendy's, right? Or any one of these, if you work there, you have to work a 4-hour shift, period. You can't just go to Express or one of these stores, Starbucks, hey, 30 minutes, my shift's over. Peace out, guys. It's not going to work. You're going to get fired. So for me, I was like, okay, a full-time job is how many hours, right? So when I started performing, I did how many hours because I wanted it to be a full-time job, right? So, things like that was how I started this thing.
That's really powerful. Tell us more about the 10,000 hours.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Right. I mean, there's like this, have you heard about it? Like the 10,000 hours of mastery. Yeah. See, so like, I mean, I had heard about it forever ago, about putting in 10,000 hours to master your craft, and I was a basketball player, and I used to want to be like, you looked up to Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. And then, so I was always I've always had this ethic of like, that's why I went Division I, right? Because, I would wake up and I would go shoot 500 shots in the morning. And then I would do, school and practice. And then after practice, I would shoot 500 shots. While half my team, is playing video games, or go hang out with some girl, or do this, or go to a party. I'm doing that, So, it's interesting, understanding allocation of time where you put your heart in. Like success is not as difficult as people think. You just have to do the work. 10,000 hours is doing the work. And you can get real crazy. By the way, you can get so good where it's like you spend 10,000 hours dribbling with your right hand and then spend 10,000 hours dribbling with your left hand. When you start putting it together, just going from left to right, you got to put 10,000 hours. Think about how much work, right? So when I think about like music, it was like, okay, 10,000 hours performing, 10,000 hours in the studio, 10,000 hours mixing, 10,000 hours dancing. It goes on and on. You'll be chasing yourself forever, right? I'm getting calls like crazy as always, but yeah,
it's anchoring in the 10,000 hour point, 10,000 calls.
Yeah, right. So I mean, 10,000 hours is really just putting in that time at work, and a lot of people think things happen overnight, but you need to put the time in, to happen.
Yeah. So AY, when did you connect with music and your creativity and your passion around your artistry?
I think the music thing was early. Like, I think the music thing was early. Like, I think it wasn't music though. Like, so I'll say late and early. Like, so basically, growing up where I lived, growing up, so I was homeschooled. I was an Eagle Boy Scout. I had like 4 crack houses on my block though. Growing up, it's crazy. We lived in the divided line of the Bloods and the Crips. So I would write about what I saw, and it's funny because I just played you and showed you the first 2 songs I've ever made my whole life. I'm now about to put out. It's so weird, but the first song I ever made was called "Stick This in Your Pocket," and it was just because I was writing. And it was like, it's funny because I was like, ain't it funny how you can be in the hood one minute? Because like where I live, you could be like in the hood, 4 crack houses, drive a couple of blocks, literally. And it's like a chameleon hit it. It was like white people, the country club plaza. It was crazy. And if you research my city, it was called the Truce Divide and this whole racial thing that is now like super hugely known. But it was just weird because I was so used to be like, I'm in the hood here and police wouldn't come, right? And then, you know, you drive 5 minutes down the street and it's the Country Club Plaza, right? So, yeah, so I wrote about stuff that I saw, and there was one day that my brother was like playing guitar, you know, to like, he was just playing guitar, he's a guitar player, and I started like talking it to the guitar, and
Yeah.
that's how it started. And I didn't even really know what rap was because my mom didn't really let me listen to like, you know, secular music, which is basically music that's not Christian music, basically. People don't know what that means. So I wasn't listening to secular music. So and that was when I was like 17, you know, so yeah.
That's
I was
so
my start.
cool. So tell us what your why is.
Yeah, what my why? So that's for me, that's really hard because I actually think I might have multiple whys, you know, which is interesting. And then there's just so many sides. But I'll say like what I guess ultimately my is to, you know, I really think my purpose is to be an outlet for people to plug in and connect to their passion. I just think that's my purpose, and you know, I really, you know, I think I really, music for me is a universal language and it's life, and I think I'm here to use it as like a vehicle, as a weapon to drive impact, you know, and so I guess you know, my whys is bringing the world together, you know, every facet of humanity. It doesn't matter, you know, I could care less about religion, like in a sense of like what your religion is, what your age or demographic is, what your race is, all of these things that divide us. I'm really here to break down all of these silos and build bridges to connect everyone, and that's what you're watching me do. Yeah, for sure, because it's necessary. Like it honestly is overdue. Like
It
holy crap,
is. Oh my gosh, so overdue, AY.
for
And you know,
real.
yeah. And you know, Heart and Soil is about that too. It's about it's about building bridges and bringing people together in a global and local and regenerative space because there's so many people doing amazing work. And imagine if we amplified each other and lifted each other up instead of tearing each other apart and saying who was better and what was better.
That's so well said. I love that. Yeah, and one thing that I do like about, first of all, the name is beautiful, right? But yeah, tell me more about what's on the plate with Heart and Soil, and like like, you know, you guys are like coming into coming up in a time where it's like more and more appreciated, I would say, you know, for what it seems like you're trying to do. What do
Yeah.
you feel about today's times and like what you're doing with the
Pardon
platform?
me.
Yeah, what do you think about today's times and what you're doing with the platform?
Oh, thanks. I love that question because I think I have two parts, two-part answer. One is I think we're living in a time of incredible change and an incredible vulnerability and incredible curiosity. And also a time where we have a responsibility to have conversations and we have a responsibility to share our voices and we have a responsibility to and using your words, plug in and be an outlet for change. And that's one of the reasons I really wanted to connect with you and wanted to amplify your work, is because I see you doing that. I see you living out your why, deeply connected with your purpose, creating bridges of communication, creating opportunities for people to connect more deeply with who they are, what inspires them, what lights them up inside. And I think the more we do that, the more we're able to connect, I think universally and also to our Mother
Oh
Earth,
yeah, that's so
right?
well said. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh man, it escaped me, but oh, I know what I wanted to say is one of your songs that I watched last week really touched me, which was I wish I remember what it was called. It was about your the relationship that you were in there was
Oh, for you.
for you, the
Oh,
domestic violence. And because and that's where we listen to your goal song and your other songs, and it just verbiates within me so deeply, where you're giving a voice to people who haven't been able to share their voice. And I thought that was that's an important conversation to have.
oh. Now that one's interesting, because like I remember when I first really and like I'm independent. I haven't had any pushback. I think that song, when you talk about For You, which is like was really hitting on something that no one really talks about, which is men being abused. It's actually a huge thing. It's actually like one in every four relationships, either mental or physical abuse. And yet it's just like as a man, you have no place to go, honestly, and really no one to talk to. It's weird. It's interesting how there's no you can type that in Google and see no help. Like it, and I remember 5, 6 years ago, you could type that in Google and there's literally no help. Now you
Yeah,
might see fragments of something here and there because people are realizing, oh wow, it's actually possible for a human, because we're all humans, right?
that's
Just
right.
because you're female or male or identify however, it doesn't mean you're not human. And you can be abusive or emotionally abusive or physically. It was almost as if there was some kind of unwritten rule where it was like, well, it's not possible for a woman to be abusive. And then so there's just so much with that. But what's crazy about For You is it wasn't there to alienate women who were abused either. The more that people hear that song, there are so many women that say either yo, oh my gosh, this needs to be talked about, and or they say I relate to this, like I was abused, and this is incredible to see. So I mean, man, I'm telling you, man, that song is like life changing.
Yeah. And I haven't shared much of my personal story around abuse. I haven't actually talked about it at all publicly. But two people who I was abused by when I was under the age of 13 were women.
Oh wow, see,
So yeah. So when
that's
and
crazy.
that pardon me.
I was just saying that's crazy. See, like I keep women keep coming to me telling me these things, and it's like, wow, like I don't know. Is it there's some kind of rule or something written where people are like women can't be abusive? Like I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, it's very curious. And I just want to draw the or connect the dots for people, and in this conversation and in the regenerative and sustainable space, because I think that like globally we have we've shown up for the earth and shown up for our home in a way where it's just like, it's just take, and we've gone towards this model of profitability instead of sustainability or regeneration or life. And it shows up that way in our relationships too, right? So, and that's the icky and sticky parts of it, like the abuse or the meanness or the disconnection that people can show up with. So I think there's a lot of like when we have conversations like about the For You song, it actually helps pull, like it's almost like giving a person a shower, or it's almost like giving a person like a nice beautiful quilt to just wrap around themselves and just get a little bit more real, a little bit more vulnerable with where they're at and who they are and how they've shown up for themselves and for others, and to bridge conversations. And so that's I thought that was really beautiful, the way you shared your story in the song and the way you shared it. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm so happy, I'm glad that maybe it seems like you felt more connected to be able to share your story, which is what it's about. It's really about all of us seeing that we're all in this together. I never wanted anyone to look at that and say, "Oh, you're not validating women or men," and that's not what's happening. It's so cool how women and men are all coming forward on this one thing, and that is what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. And and that's what I think that's a common theme that I see throughout some of your music, AY, is even one of the songs that you just played, which was about what's the song? It was like, how about you? What was the
How
question?
about you? How about
Yeah,
you?
how about you, right? How about you? And tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I mean this EP is for me like so I'm making this like so like currently it's confusing because I have all this music. I'm in a cycle of what I call the Just Call Me AY. So in the next couple of months, Just Call Me AY, like my debut like EP releases, and that has like this song that's on Netflix on the Zac Efron show, Ayo, and
Mhm.
Angela. I just released my first Latin record, Hey Mama, and all these and but this is special because this now I'm stepping into the goals space. Like I'm gonna get the world ready. And so how about you to be specific? That's on the goals EP. Yeah, it's just I'm trying to challenge people. Like,
Mhm.
because here's the deal. This album is gonna reach people like to me, like I said, I come from doing concerts in the street corner, covering everything from Drake, Dolly Parton to whatever. Like the people that I know and most people in America, they don't know the goals, bro. Like they know Migos or Cardi B, or like all that stuff. They
Yeah.
don't know the goals. So and you know what I noticed too? I don't know if some of these concepts that I'm bringing in have ever really been cool. Like,
Mhm.
let's be honest. Like, it's like if I was like, "Yo, change on my wrist into something, the money," like that stuff is popping. You know what I'm saying? Talking about girls' butts, like that's just all I hear from all
Mhm.
these people. What if we flipped it? What if I was like, like that line when I was talking about, I just fed a village with with this music, then I hit the road. Like what? So this dude's talking about getting people access to energy and da 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 in a dope way. How about you? What are you doing, Drake? I don't know what Drake's doing, but what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like in this journey of Project 17, which I'll tell you all about Project 17. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful to me because, like, when I talk to an artist or a company or whoever, I ask the same question: what do you care about? The same thing that I was
Mhm.
talking to you, the kids in the classroom. What do you care about? So it's not about the fact that Billie Eilish had 5 million, 100 million followers or Drake. It's Drake. What do you care about? It's
Yes.
insane to me that when you think about it, like right now, anyone watching, at this Heart and Soil thing, or even you right now, start thinking about celebrities, actors, as you know, and ask yourself, what do they care about? And I guarantee you, you're not gonna know. Like and I'm telling you, I'm tough. It's tough for me, like, because in my mind, I go, for this Project 17 to plug an artist into what they care about, you got to know. And I think
Yeah.
about Cardi B, and I go, what does she care about?
Mm.
Right? Think about what does Billy I. What does Drake stand for? What does Stevie Wonder? Well, we know Stevie Wonder cares about peace now because he's a messenger of peace. But it's like, okay, he fits here,
Yeah.
so, right? So what I'm kind of trying to figure out is like I guess I'm in this space
Mm.
where it's like, what do you care about? Like, how about you? How
Yes.
about you as an outlet? That's what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. What do you care about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have, I always say, well, what goal are you most plugged into?
Mhm.
I think that actually for me, it actually changes probably all the time, day to day.
Same.
And you know what I'm saying? And then plus I'm making music to the goal. So you haven't heard the songs, but like they fluctuate with my favorite. But I feel like goal 17 at the end of the day for me is like obviously that's the first goal I started with in terms of Project 17. So when I
Mhm.
started Project 17, I was like, and I was like, okay, 17, because in order to do all of these goals, we all
Mhm.
have to come together every facet of humanity. So I'll say that was the first song that I made for Project 17, demo.
Hmm.
The Head in the Heart, the singer Jonathan Russell, and I perform it all the time. And then I hope to add like Paul McCartney on there, like maybe Miley Cyrus. Who knows? Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The right people and the right conversations will happen to make it all happen. AY, what do you most want people to know?
Yeah. Yeah. What do I most want people? I think that's a tough question. Like, obviously,
Mhm.
I'm in this huge thing where I'm doing like one song for each goal, and all the bringing all the biggest companies in the world and sponsors,
Yeah.
bringing together, all the biggest artists, and it's like, what's the one thing you want? I think it just goes back to this same message I've always saying. It's just like, everyone in the world, every
Mhm.
facet is an outlet for change. We're all outlets, and plugged into each other, on the local level, on the community level, right, on the
Mhm.
national level. Like we can power change, you
Yeah.
know. And so I think it's like, hey, connected, we can really make some of these changes happen to save the planet, essentially to save the planet can even be an interesting divisive statement I've learned. Like it's like some people don't believe there's issues with the planet. So
Mhm.
I would say that we all have passions and things
Yeah.
that we love, and we should be doing them every day, and we should be using them to make an impact. And I'm here to hopefully drive that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're an artist. And I really actually believe that everyone is an artist in some way, shape,
Yeah,
or form.
that's true. You're right about that.
We
You got
all have that creativity inside of us, right? And so, and as you've grown in your artistry, it feels like you've kept this in balance. And at the same time, there's also this, especially since you have married with the UN, with being one of their 17 leaders for the sustainability goals. Um, there comes in productivity, right? Like these goals or these markers that you probably are setting and you want to hit. And so I'm wondering, um, how do you keep that creativity into, like, how do you keep those touch points of creativity? I mean, you're blessed because you get to write music connected with the sustainability, the SDG goals, right? But um, how do you keep I guess joie de vie, the joy of life in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's really actually hard. It's been really hard recently. But at the end of the day, I am doing what I love to do when I perform. It's not all the other stuff that's involved before the performance or all this other crap.
Yeah.
I am doing what I love to do, and what's kept me going is because I've always seen this. Like I had kids, students, families sending me photos of an outlet. Right now, like if you look behind you right now, or wherever your laptop's plugged in, there's an outlet. We're
Yeah.
already in every home in America. I recognized that years ago because the people did, powered
Mhm.
by the people. Like I've been doing this for the people, with the people, like so
Mhm.
for me, the outlets power, my energy and soul. And so the more I plug into the people of the world, the more I see how this connects to people and gives them hope and gives them all this thing. Like I stay powered up and it keeps me moving in my mind. And the more I perform, it just keeps everything going. I just got to make sure I keep doing that, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you say to the person who feels that creativity inside of them and feels that, like, that passion inside of them, but they're not too sure exactly what to do or how to express that? So what do you say to them?
Yeah. I mean, you know, so many ways to enter life for people that feel a lot of creativity and passion, but who don't necessarily know how to, and then of course there's life, right? It's like, okay, there's so many factors. And what's your job? What's taking up most of your time?
Mhm.
Are you juggling the wife and the kids or the girlfriend and the this and the that? Like there's so many things that affect your energy and your all these things. I I would definitely like I guess a short answer. Yeah, a short answer is just listen to your heart, right? I mean, at the end of the day, your heart will tell you, what you love, and what your heart knows what feels right. Sometimes we just ignore that voice. I would say jump. I think the second part, and I say this for entrepreneurs, or I say this for anyone in general, just jump. Like at the end of the day, you can sit around and talk about ideas and things that you love to do or wish and hope, but just jump. Like if you're interested in X, like but go do it. Use Google, use YouTube. It's so funny. People all the time come to me and ask me about how'd you open up for Wiz Khalifa? How'd you do this? How do you do that? Like everyone's always trying to get this cheat code to just get there. But you kind of just go and you figure it out. Oh, you want to do pottery. So you're typing pottery classes or something in Google. Like use your fingers or your mouth and voice it and say, hey, Google, pottery stuff in the area. Go connect to people, jump, try it. Like you have to do it. too many people sit here and they're like, "Oh, I love dancing," but then they'll never take a dance class or go somewhere. And you said maybe the club on Friday. It's like, bro, how do you expect to do or release or do it if you don't do it, right? And if you're gonna hit yourself with a whole bunch of excuses, well, I work all day and I don't get off till 5 and everything's closed and that, you can give yourself excuses all day, then maybe that's the wrong job. Maybe if this is your passion and now you never have time for it, that's the wrong job. And so now as you go to work tomorrow, you're looking at this job as this is a temporary thing to keep me alive till I find a way to maneuver, create a new system and a way of living. So then I can go do what I love to do. And then you do it.
Yeah, you touched on something that's really powerful that I think describes a lot of people, right? A lot of us are stuck. Well, a lot of us are unaware. A lot of us are stuck. A lot of us are doing what we know to do or what we've been told to do. And so how does a person connect with the SDGs, and how does a person actually not feel paralyzed by the overwhelming bigness of
I think the SDGs are ridiculously overwhelming, period. And I think that sustainability doesn't make sense and it's overwhelming. Because what even is that? Like, bro, what is sustainability? You know, like people go, sustainability. It's like, I have not, that when I looked at the goals, I was like, oh, so that's like technically goal 13. That's one small piece.
Yeah.
Oh, really big puzzle. You know, I love regeneration though. You know, Paul Hawk is my mentor. And he nominated me to be a young leader. And, you know, that's like, my God, he is. He's like, yeah, you know, Paul, you know, you got me. Have you met Paul yet?
You know, that's how I actually was introduced to you, is because I had the honor of an opportunity of interviewing him, and he's like, have you talked to AY yet? And I was like, AY. He's like, well, yeah, he's the video on my website. And so he actually played me your whole song.
Oh, we can change the world.
Yeah. So we had such a good connection, and he just, I mean, clearly you already know he adores you, and
Paul's the best.
He really is.
Yeah, I'm going to kick with him. But so as you know, and as your viewers may know, you know, he made Project Drawdown Regeneration, but the idea, you know, he explains it in such a cool way. But I think, and I always mess up, I feel like, but he said something that blew my mind, because he was like, what if, like, it's not sustainability that we need regeneration. If every single choice or thing that we do as a human is based on the thought of how can I bring life? That's crazy. Like, because then you go to the shower instead of saying, oh, I need to conserve my water so much. It's like, how can I, like, your thought of like, how can I bring more life? How can I, like, could even change the whole scenario of how you're living, you know, because you're trying to bring life in every action when you utilize water or what. Like, that's crazy to me. And that's where we should be thinking.
I absolutely hear. It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah, but let me scale back. You asked about the goals. You're like, oh, the goals, you know, I said they're overwhelming, you know, and that's why my approach is what it is. And, you know, in my opinion, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think the UN got it wrong, and maybe that's why I'm here. Because like I said, when I met the Secretary General, one of the things that he was saying was like, oh, they're called the millennial goals. So he talks more like this, tell me what to do. AY, tell me what to do. You know, but he's like, they had the millennial goals. That was 20 years ago. And my mom, like, this isn't achieved. Like, y'all didn't get
exactly right.
You know, a billion people, like, something ain't right. You know, but I think it's like that idea that's what I'm saying. Plug in and connect to your passion. So it's a lot different. You know, see, it's funny, and I'll break it down like this. This is what I've been saying. It's like one step every day. That's how I got here. I was doing a concert every day, Monday through Sunday, one step. We're still doing it right now. I just did back-to-back, you know, 2 shows in one day the other day. I'm still doing that on top of everything you're seeing externally, right? It hasn't stopped yet because we haven't gotten there. You know, people think the road, you know, to impact is somehow paved, like, but it starts with one step, right? Like, for instance, I got people in high school saying, you know what? This is what I can do. On my prom, I'm going to carpool. Boom! You did it. Like there are families and stuff that I talk to. The dad's like, oh, I'm so stressed. I gotta work. And, I gotta do this and buy this recycled bin and gotta change everything. We got the 4 kids. Too much. It's like, bro, just do one thing. If your one thing is buying a recycle bin and now you're recycling, take a step. Then you take another step. Oh, well, maybe I'll buy an electric vehicle now, or I'll do this, or like it's just take a step, and that's what we're not doing. We're just, oh, this is so big, and it's not no one's moving. They're just talking about action. Do something. Do one thing. And that's what Project 17 is. It's like, okay, everyone knows I've been was on Billie Eilish's guest list. On the guest list with 2 shows back, and of course, it'd be great to get her officially on this project. But it's like when you go to like a Billie Eilish or say Tech Nine, who just officially joined the #1 independent artist in the world. It's like, okay, bro, what do you care about? He said he cares about poverty, getting people out of poverty because he came from poverty, which is crazy. I was like, dang, Tech, you're the #1 independent artist who came from, but to be on this project, he's gonna have to take an action. Now, what I don't know what that action is. Maybe on his next sold out tours, because he tours the whole world and everything's sold out. No plastic water bottles. Maybe the action is new electric vehicle fleet or some educational material. I don't know, right? But it's the same thing when I talk to major corporation. Like if I was to talk to a Nike or this or that, it's like, okay, we need the sponsorship money to do this project. But what action are you going to take? Getting people to take an action. I don't know if that's your factory is going to be powered by renewable energy. If it's going to be right, everyone can do a step. And I expect more from McDonald's than the kid in the classroom in 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? But we can all take a step, whatever that may be. If you're a TikToker, there's a step there. Okay, well, I'm just a TikToker. I have a bunch of followers. I'm 13. I live with my mom. Okay, great. So what do you care about? Okay, you care about mental health and depression, and getting people out of it. Okay, and you have a bunch of followers. Make a video. Now you just took an action, and then you'll make another one tomorrow, right? Another action. You build.
Yeah, that's so powerful. It reminds me of the rocks. I don't know if you've ever seen rocks that have come out of a stream that have been under a place where there's just like one drip at a time. That one actually puts a hole, like they're called wish rocks because they're a literal hole.
It takes a while too. It
does
takes a long time. Like that rock doesn't get that indention or whatever until a whole lot of drops.
That's
right. They little too. They little.
Yeah.
And sometimes they land on the rock and then they kind of stay and they kind of build and they'll create a puddle sometimes. And then it'll break. It'll break. People will go away, disappear. The season's over. But then you keep dripping. I know you keep eventually. Yeah.
I know, the power of one step, right? The power of plugging in.
That's a good analogy because I like at some point soon, eventually it'll break all the way through.
It does. Yeah. Super powerful. So tell me more about Project 17. Where are you at? What are the next steps and how can we support you in that? Somebody's missing the airport.
Project 17 is great. So that's what I'm doing. So when I became a young leader, I launched this project, one song for each goal, each song with a major artist, each song with a major company plugged in, as a sponsor, sharing the impact. And then of course I'm putting together 7, which is why the Regeneration is one of them. They're one of the impact kind of partners because I said in one of those songs, I feel like I'm the Robin Hood, music business because I'm gonna take the money from the music and give it to you guys, to the people for impact, right? So these organizations that, give people food or water, like Regeneration, they're kind of plugged into Goal 17 officially, right? Because they're kind of bringing people together, aggregating information. The music's going to empower that to happen, right? So that's Project 17, and then 17 concerts, of course, right? Next year. Update with that, shoot. Blessed to have Samsung behind me, right? Everyone saw the Metaverse launch, the USA launch of Project 17. I did Goal 7, even though I aspired to have that one with Bono, Coldplay, and Akon. That hasn't been secured yet. I still previewed the record the other day, which was so crazy. Yeah, and I mean, it's really just kicking off. I saw that Tech Nine. I keep talking about him. He's the number one independent artist in the world, and so I thought it was important to not just work and have a bunch of major artists, but also have independent artists on Project 17. And because we're all humans and we all share this planet, and we all have a goal that we connect to. So what better, major artist to officially join, I call him major, he's independent,
Yeah.
than the number one, which is Tech Nine. So, having Tech and having the support of Samsung, and then hopefully now as we scale up to bring in 16 more corporations, right? Plug into the goal they care about, and 16 more artists. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's super cool. And so AYU Power, I want to be mindful of the time. Do you have like 5 more minutes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You power your entire concerts with renewable energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why it's called Battery Tour. Yeah.
I know that's why it's called Battery Tour.
Yeah.
So tell us what the scalability of that is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of infinite, honestly. It's like so my whole career, from the most part, when you see Battery Tour, you see these like little boxes, right? That because early on, I would say show number 300, I found out that there's a billion people that like to access energy. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm an outlet. I can do a show every day. I can take action every day. That's where it came from, right? To get someone access to energy. So that's when I flipped the Battery Tour to this music for impact model. And the Battery Tour became like every concert was used to fund, build, promote, right? And develop, deploy sustainable solutions in general, not just the box that me and some partners put together, right? So fast forward to now, I just recently built a solar trailer. So I've been using a box with batteries, and we store the solar energy into the batteries. Now I got a trailer that's like 10 kilowatts of stored energy, right? It's crazy. And I did a concert recently. It was 5,000 people. And I think the power level went from like 95 to like 90%. And it was like 3 hours later. So I don't really know what's possible, but that was a football field with 5,000 people. And it was a solar trailer that I built with my team, Footprint Project, and New Use Energy. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not Amazon. Battery Tour is not powered by Tesla, Energized, or Duracell. So what the capacity is, I don't know. But I'm trying to get the collaborations to happen so we can say, man, what is the capacity? But you know what is possible? It's possible to do almost 900 concerts completely powered by renewable energy, because I did it. It's possible to do a football field with 5,000 plus people, because I did it with no help and no backing. So you tell me what's possible.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's possible.
I have no idea, and I can't wait. I mean, I've been waiting to work with like an Elon Musk, or what the Amazon sustainability team is doing. There's anything's possible when you come together,
right? True. What else would you like us to know? AY.
No, get plugged in. I got music coming out. I just dropped another song. My newest single, Andale's out. I'm so blessed to have the support from like Zac Efron and Darren Olian. The 2 of my records. One of them that's going to be on Project 17, the Regeneration song with Paul Hawk. Right, it's all releasing on the new season of Down to Earth. Season 2. So get plugged in. If get plugged in, get connected. If you're an artist, join the tour. If you're a company or corporation that wants to be a part of this SDG project to make impact, get plugged in, right? Connect and let's power change. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and can I just ask you another question? And because I think you might have some inspiration for these people. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of our audience are farmers and gardeners and people who grow their own food. And I'm wondering what you have to say to them about what they're doing.
That's some tough work. So by the way, I have my own family farm. I don't know if you've seen the Young Family Farm. And that's what this magazine's all about, this stuff. Woo! Yeah. So anyone, it is more important than the value today puts on it. You know, that's what I would say. You know, it's funny, the pandemic taught us a whole lot of stuff, like the supply chain, eating local, you know. And I think as time goes by and as we realize how fragile our systems are, the ability, the knowledge to be able to grow your own food and support your own community and the people around you is going to be more and more important. So
Yeah.
whatever you, and then at the end of the day, what we're putting in our bodies is better from the ground than from the store, right? Like this process situation. So my advice would be to continue. And you who knows where the future may lie, your services may be needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your family farm is urban, right? It's in the middle of the
Yeah,
city.
yeah, we're in the middle of this. I guess not food desert doesn't exist.
It's a
Yeah.
food desert.
Yeah, and we're like the only one in like the desert or whatever. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. So can you tell us about that? Because some people don't think that's possible. So how's that been?
Yeah, and see, it is possible. You know, we do a lot of raised bed stuff. You know, we do raised beds and but I mean, my parents are so innovative. We've been growing our own food for a while. Like even though it's homeschooled, we were doing like my mom's and I. But now we feed the neighborhood, and it is possible. You know, I'll say, and I'm not the expert like my dad and mom are, and like explaining the different intricacies of how we're doing it. But I just do a lot of the work as much as I can to help out and everything. But yeah, I know my dad spends so much time on YouTube and Google, always figuring out how to do things better, and yeah, got a really good system over there, irrigation system and everything. And you know, I'm powering a lot of the stuff with renewable energy. I keep the trailer off the farm, so you know, no pesticides, none of that stuff, right? You know, raised beds. We do our own honey. You know, I mean, it takes work, man. We get a lot of volunteers that come in that help too. You know, but I would say anyone listening, you know, start small. You can always start small. Get you some tomato plants, get you some, you know, some smaller stuff, and then you can grow it, because you know the thing about growing food is you know, it's a lot of work. You know, and life is slower a little bit, and we're used to a faster pace, and the world's been made to just get really fast and blah blah blah, but we're not tied to how it came there and how, you know. So it's an interesting thing when you start getting connected to your own food. It's really interesting what it does to you and the community around you and your soul and your spirit. It slows things down too. Yeah, that's all I'll say on. I think that's a good comment on it. It's interesting. It's like the world is Western society is built differently. It's built to consume.
Yeah, built to consume and be productive, right?
Yeah, whatever that means, but that keeps you off the soil, off the land, disconnected. So now you can, you know, you're just not connected to anything anymore, even though you're so connected to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, AY, for your time. Thank you for, peace out. Thank you for sharing your voice and being a voice for the sustainability goals, which are big and simple at the same time, and for being a voice and asking the questions, asking the hard questions, and just stirring it up, because I think the more we stir it up and the more we peel back the layers, the more we discover about ourselves and others, and the more permission it gives us to connect.
That's so good. That's well said. I see you. I'm so happy. I'm glad we got to interview. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, AY.
My pleasure.
Grateful you joined us for that conversation and interview. If you haven't subscribed to Heart and Soil Magazine yet, head over to heartandsoilmagazine.com. Click on that subscribe button and join us. You make yourself an amazing day, and I'm really grateful you're part of our community.